Hello everyone and welcome to Sunburned Albino Reviews Concrete Genie, a game I was pretty excited for ever since its announcement. That turned out to be a pretty niche game for a certain type of player, but I am that player, so it worked out. We're using the SMPF scale, judging the story, mechanics, polish, and fun. S rank is the best, F is the worst. Let's get started with the story. Concrete Genie is about a loner boy who loves to draw, who frequents a town that was recently abandoned after something called the Darkness trickled in and clogged up the whole town. They say it was born of the townsfolk's negative emotions and general depression and manifested itself, driving them away from a place they didn't want to be in anyway. But this kid named Ash is still attached to the place and hangs out there frequently by himself. Separately, a group of bullies also like to hang out there and do general hooligan shenanigans like graffiti and vandalism, and they bully Ash every chance they get because he's a loser who draws pictures of fantasy creatures in his sketchbook and then names them and talks to them and pretends they're his friends. This is like a late middle schooler or early high school student we're talking about, by the way. All I'm saying is as I was playing this game, I understood why he was a target. And the game leans into the bullying narrative, showing scenes of Ash being harassed, having his stuff stolen, and even getting a giant foot to the stomach by both boys and girls, which I appreciated because bullying is one of the most universally non-discriminatory phenomenons in society, and it can happen to or be caused by anyone. But so in the first scene, the bullies take his sketchbook and rip all the pages out and scatter them everywhere, and then they force him onto a tram that leads to a haunted lighthouse. We've all been there. At the lighthouse, Ash finds one of his pages and the drawing comes to life and attaches to the wall before gifting him a magic huge paintbrush he's supposed to use to paint the whole town and drive back the darkness, and therein lies your video game. The story isn't particularly hard-hitting, but whenever a bully tries to grab Ash's brush, he can see into their past and get a glimpse of why they are how they are. Like one bully might have a dad in jail, or another's parents might have gotten divorced when they were young. The game is really trying to convey a lesson in the deeper mechanics of how and why bullying happens, and perhaps how to look at it in a way that doesn't make you feel worthless, which is neat. I'd rather not spoil too much of what else happens over the course of the game, but suffice to say I give the story a B, because it's pretty original, but it's also pretty one-note the whole time. Moving on to mechanics. So when they say paint the town back to life, they mean it very literally. 90% of the gameplay is you wandering around town finding walls that have Christmas lights attached to them, indicating that you should put some kind of art here to light them all up and help the buildings sparkle in radiance. Painting is done using motion controls. This game also has a VR mode, which conceptually I think would be pretty cool, but I don't have VR, so I don't know. But so you'll probably be tilting your standard controller and moving it around to splat your designs onto the canvas. You can recenter the cursor with a single button press, and it doesn't take much effort to create your art, since you're selecting from pre-rendered sketches and then usually just scaling the drawings in one direction or another. Action-wise, it's like you're just drawing straight lines, but the sketch attaches itself to your center and morphs with what you're doing. As far as creativity goes, the quality of your art is entirely up to you, as the lights only care about space being filled, not what you fill it with. I think you'll get more out of the game if you take your time and try to make scenery that looks good, but if you want to be the world's most half-assed artist, you can do that too. Your selection of entirely nature-based sketches is small at first, but grows as you run around and collect the missing scattered pages of your sketchbook. But it would be nice if you weren't just making different seasons of landscapes the whole game, and you had more variety and themes to choose from. I forgot to mention that in addition to making masterpieces full of apples and butterflies, you can also draw your own concrete genies, hence the name, to become your friends and help you solve puzzles. Like the art, you choose from pre-rendered sketches and then they come to life. When I say they help you solve puzzles, I mean they walk over and press a switch or blow something out of the way and then you can go to a place you couldn't go before. That's really the extent of it. Don't expect any witness-level stumpers. These genies are pretty much just glorified laborers, and your incredibly simple wish is their incredibly simple command. When I said 90% of the gameplay consists of this stuff, it's because the other 10% happens near the end of the game and adds completely new game mechanics. Like during the home stretch of the narrative, literally the final hour, the game decides it wants to randomly add third-person action combat to it, and you're like, huh, what? I can't show it without spoiling the end of the story, but I'll just say that it's weird, but not necessarily bad. You gain ranged attack combos and a dodge roll button, and it does give you the ability to ride your brush like a jetboard in the Jak and Daxter series, which is great for getting around afterwards. I'd say the mechanics get a B, because painting is fun, but there's not enough images to paint. Into the polish. Concrete Genie generally works as intended. The world renders properly, the painting goes off without a hitch, and your genies know how to do what you tell them. The only issue I found was with the AI of the bullies, because as you run around town, the bullies are hanging out in designated locations, and sometimes you have to distract them with thrown objects or shouts to get them to move so you can paint a thing real quick. Unfortunately, this occasionally causes the group to split up, which they're not supposed to do, and end up in places they should not be, and you might have to distract them several more times just to reset their AI and get them going in the right direction. Other than that, I didn't run into anything that I took notice of, so I'll give it an A for polish. And finally, how fun is it? Concrete Genie is for artistic types and people who wish they were artistic types. If you're an actual artist, you might lament the constraints of the art the game allows you to create, but you'll certainly be in awe of how beautiful the art of the game itself looks. This game is gorgeous, and just existing in the world is relaxing and inspiring. After the campaign's all said and done, you can still run around and look for collectibles you missed, or you can go into a separate free paint mode where you can make anything you want. The main game is on the shorter side. I finished it in about 5 hours while being relatively methodical with my drawings, but if you ever need to relax and just let loose with some brush strokes, go boot up some Concrete Genie and let your creativity shine. I give it a B in fun. I think it's a game that could be improved with some free added art packs or something, but I'm very glad I got to play it. So that's gonna do it for this review. Here's your final grades in front of you. Like, share, and subscribe. Follow me on Twitter at Sunburned Albino, and I'll see you guys next time.